All right, Pirate fans and surrounding areas, it's Wednesday, Podcast Wednesday. This is the day that we talk Rockport-Fulton Pirate sports, and we're going to be talking our our basketball. But before we get started, I want to say that we're adding more podcasts on Wednesdays. Next week, we'll be talking softball. So we'll have Coach Gonzalez on at 6, or scheduled to have him to talk about the Lady Pirates. And then Coach Thompson comes on at 7 to talk about the boys. And then we're going to add at 8 o'clock Coach Reyes. So she's scheduled to come on next Wednesday at 8 o'clock, and we'll start adding and talking about the upcoming season. It's just so we'll be talking softball. So as the next week or two, we're going to be adding more. So there's going to be more podcasting coming up. Hopefully, we can get the powerlifting, and I believe there's wrestling. And I'm going to reach out to those coaches and our baseball. So they're about 20 to 30 minutes long. So you might see the next 2 to 3 weeks more podcasts added on. I'm definitely excited about that, to give these coaches an opportunity to talk about their program and bring in those athletes as well, like we do basketball. But I have Coach Thompson. He's our head coach here this evening to talk about the program. And we have a special guest. So, Coach, thank you for coming on. And how are you doing this evening?
I'm good. And you?
I'm good, Coach. I stay busy. We do, Coach. We do Ingleside on Mondays. We do Rockport on Wednesdays, and then we do Toloso Midway on Thursdays. So give these coaches an opportunity to come out and talk about their program, and let the surrounding areas kind of know the talents that we have around here, and give players an opportunity to come out and also talk. And I know you've got one here. We are scheduled to have Roman Cox as well. He's our senior, so we'll hopefully he'll be able to make it. But we do have our other senior basketball player here, a senior Hudson King. Hudson, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm just grateful to be on this podcast. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for coming on. I tell Coach I love to have players come out, and we can get a chance to introduce you to the community, and you get to put a number. A lot of players, a lot of times I used to go out to the games, Hudson, and I'd say, like, man, who's I'm asking people, who is that guy? What's his name? I knew the number, but didn't know the name. So now when you guys come on, they can add a name, face to the jersey number. So thank you for coming out, spending a few minutes here with us. I'd start off with you first and ask you to kind of introduce yourself. I told them you were senior in your name, but what is your jersey number, and what position do you play for the Pirates?
My jersey number is number 2, and I'm a small forward for the Pirates.
Small forward. Yeah, I saw you playing football this year. A great season. And now you're in basketball. So Hudson, I mean, how long have you been playing? I mean, how long have you been playing basketball? Have you been playing all 4 high school years here for the Pirates?
Yes, sir. I've been here my whole life. I've been playing basketball since I was like 5 years old, and I love the game. And Coach Thompson just makes everything easy for me. He teaches me if I make a mistake. He tells me what I do wrong, and I just try and fix it the next time.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. That's great to have Coach Thompson. He won a championship, right, at as a player, so he knows what he's talking about. You get to the final game when you're the last team standing. Obviously, you know what you're talking about, and you know what it's going to take to get to that level. So we have a coach here who's done it as a player and understands exactly the work that it takes and what you need to do to be the last team standing. So we're very thankful and blessed to have Coach Thompson here teaching our athletes. How did you get started with basketball? I mean, like, did someone teach you? Was there someone in the family that taught you, or were you I just picked it up and just started liking it from the time I was a kid?
Yes, sir. My dad taught me most of the things I know today, and all of my family, like my cousins and my aunts and uncles, they all played basketball in the past, and so I've always been surrounded by basketball. And just recently, today actually, my cousin just committed to Arizona State to play basketball.
Wow.
So I've always been introduced to basketball. It's just a huge part of my life, and I just love it.
That's awesome. That's awesome to have a family member be able to play at the next level. I love baseball. I'll tell you a little story real quick. When I was a kid, I loved baseball. Man, I wanted to play baseball as a kid, but I could play the defensive side. I just wasn't very good at baseball. As much as I loved it, I just couldn't play it. There was a lot of kids better than me. And I found out when I was a youth, I said, now this is not my sport. Like as much as I love it, it's not going to be my sport. I'm no good at it. One kind of a big guy, so football was okay. But once I got to high school, I just didn't have the size. So picked up a basketball and it came natural to me. I played soccer when I was in youth, but basketball came easy to me. I could shoot with my left, dribble with my left. When I was in middle school, I could shoot with the right. I mean, I wasn't about 5'11", but I didn't have a 3-point range. I was about a midway shooter, free throw line, but I could really post up and hurt people with moves. Had a great reverse left at that time, a lot of people didn't have that. So I mean, I had some moves, and it just came easy. Coach would just tell me, and it just came easy to me. I could just pick it up and do it quickly. So I found out that basketball, I think, was my sport, and I loved it, and I played it. I'm a little older now, so I can't really play it like I used to unless I play guys my age. But man, I loved it when I played. It was a great sport. And now I'm glad I get an opportunity to talk about it and probably call some games. Not very good at calling the games, but I do my best. But I love going out there and supporting our athletes, especially in basketball, because that was the sport that I played when I was younger. Let's talk a little bit about the season. So we'll get into your first district game here in a bit, but coming into the season as a senior, there was a lot no coming back this year. It's going to be Roman Cox. I mean, Carter's gone, so you're stepping into that role. I feel as a guy right there with Roman that's really going to take you to the next level, right? You guys have been in the playoffs and had success the last couple of years. What was the expectation for you coming in? You kind of came in a little late after football because the season had already started. But what was your expectation, Hudson, for this team this year?
I mean, I knew we'd have to come in firing if we wanted to compete in games. We lost some valuable players: Carter, Noah, Case, Phillip. We lost a lot of players, so I knew we'd have to get in the gym and practice every day and run a condition. But I believed in our team, and I still believe in us, and I think we're gonna do great. So I just think we gotta believe in ourselves and believe in our teammates.
Absolutely. And this team, like I said, it's been in the playoffs the last couple of years. And so I mean, we've had some trouble in the first round, obviously, but we have been able to get into the playoffs. This is a tough district, too, for people to understand. Ingleside's pretty good. Sinton's always good. Beeville, there's been battles with Beeville. We'll get into them. I know you guys are coming. That game's coming up. And, I'll talk a little bit about that. But we've always been able to fare well. Last year, I saw some of the matchups. I was kind of going through it again this year, and we kind of split the series, right? Not too many teams swept us. We kind of, went 1-1 with them. So it's a very interesting district where there's a lot of good competition, a lot of good players. So if you come out and watch the game, you're going to see a good game and some teams really, really battling out. So that's really great. I wanted to ask you your thoughts on two players. One that you played with for a while, Roman Cox. I mean, I've asked Coach to talk a little bit about Roman. He's kind of the guy that's a captain this year. He's a senior. Tell us a little bit about Roman. You go to school with him, but you're there. You watch him in practice. What's he like for people that don't know who he is and his work ethic?
I mean, yeah, Roman's a hard worker, man. In practice, he goes 100% all the time. He practices how he plays, and it shows in the games. I mean, he's dominant on the offensive side, and he's good on the defensive side. And just outside of basketball, he's a great friend, and I go fishing with him all the time, and he's never changed off the court. He's always positive. Even if someone does something wrong, he just tries to correct them. Sometimes he gets a little angry, but who doesn't? But yeah, overall, he's a great person.
Awesome. That's a great, yeah. That's the competitor in you, right? Like you want to win so bad, you want to compete at the highest level. Sometimes that frustration is shown at times, but I've heard nothing but great things about this young man since he was a freshman. Coaches when he was in middle school out here, like they praised him even before he was in high school. So we knew coming in he was going to be just not a good basketball player, right? But he was just a great person, a great student, a great friend, like you said. So I always want to give players an opportunity to talk about each other. So thank you for talking a little bit about Roman. I wanted to ask you about the young sophomore Brian Kaiser, right? I've seen him play a little bit. He's got some pretty good moves. Not a kid that's from Rockport, moved in this year, but that kid has got some some moves. He's got some skills that I think that are going to be really good. They're going to develop, I think. Can you talk to us a little bit about Brian and what you see from him in practice and preparing for games?
Yes, sir. Brian also, I mean, he's a hard worker. He's a strong kid. He gets to the rim with ease, bump into, lay it up. And in practice, I mean, all the upperclassmen, we push him. So he's getting the environment from us. He's learning from the upperclassmen. So I think he's going to develop into a really great player. I mean, he already is showing it this year. He can score at all three levels, and he's playing defense great. And I think me and Roman and Austin and whoever else, we just try and push him as hard as he can get because he needs that from upperclassmen, you know?
He does. He does need to get pushed. I told Coach Thompson last week. I said, oh, I think I told him he was on the podcast. I said, he's got some moves. Like he's got some good footwork. Like you can see a bigger kid, right? He's got some muscle on him, so he's not easily. He can get himself inside of the paint pretty much. And so I'm glad you guys are pushing him because I think he has a lot of talent. And if he's pushed, at some point we're going to see the best from him, right? Hopefully, in the next 2 years here for Rockport. I'd like to talk to you about your first district game against Sinton. Obviously, it's a game that's it's a battle between the Pirates all the time. They want to beat us, we want to beat them. Unfortunately, on Friday, they were able to get the win 52-37. So we kind of struggled a little bit offensively, but overall, I just want to get your thoughts as the player. What did you see from your team, and what was it that Sinton was doing to us that we could only manage 37 points?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we did horrible as a team. Our defense wasn't very good, and they didn't play very good on offense. But I think we just need to attack the paint more and get their big men up off the floor. He likes to block every shot, so I feel like if we can get him in the air and get him in foul trouble, it'll be a lot easier on us. And I mean, offensively, we just need to make shots. I mean, I was coming off a high ankle sprain because of the Cal Allen game. I sprained my ankle pretty bad, so I was a little bit slow. But overall, I think next time we're gonna get him for sure.
I hope so. I hope so. That's always a game that I'm very interested in seeing. Hopefully, I get real excited when we can win any games, right? But when we play Sid, well, I definitely like to get a little pumped, and hopefully we can get the win. The Pirates will play a Sitting one more time in a couple of weeks here, as these district teams play each other twice. Speaking of your injury, so there were some injuries, and I talked to Coach, and he said that they wanted to make sure that you were 100%. Really wasn't sure if you were going to play in this game. They really didn't know when you were going to come back. They wanted to be cautious in you when you come back. How are you feeling? What can you tell us about the injury? You said you were a little slow, but how's that coming and developing here as you continue to play these games for us?
I mean, right after I injured my foot, I was like I might be out for a while because it was swelling up and it was hurting really bad. But I just shout out to my trainers. They really put me on a good program, and so I healed back pretty fast. And in this end game, I was about 80%. I was wearing that ankle brace, and it was like I've never worn one before, so I was just getting used to it. But this next game, I'll be 100% for sure.
Yeah, it takes, if you're not used to it, it takes some time. You got something else, so it takes some getting used to. I'm glad you're back though, and because we need you. I mean, you're definitely a big part of what we do here. So having you, not only for what you do for this team, but the leadership is important on the court. We got to have coaches. Coach Thompson can't be on the court, so you got to have those leaders and those captains up there being able to help the younger players, especially in a tight game. So I'm glad to see you back, and I hope you continue to get better. If you're not 100% now, because we got some important district games to play, and we definitely need to be healthy at this time. Let's talk a little bit about the upcoming games. So you have Beeville coming up, I believe, because you guys had a bye. Correct me if I'm wrong, Coach, but you had a bye on Tuesday, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now you're going Friday. You're playing Beeville. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
That game is on Friday the 17th at Beeville. The next two games, the Pirates will be on the road. Hudson, let's talk a little bit about Beeville. Last year, you split. There were really good games. We got one, and then they got one. So it's always a battle. It's been that way for the last couple of years, but this is an important game. They all are, but we don't want to go down 0-2, 1-1. Just your thoughts on Beeville. You played them before. You're going down there. It's rowdy. I've been down there before. It's a smaller gym, but it gets really, really loud. Their fans get rowdy. Keys to the win and your thought of what the Pirates need to do to go 1-1 in district.
Yes, sir, for sure. The key to the win, I mean, we've been practicing it. They number 4 for Beeville, I mean, he can shoot the lights out of the ball. We've just been focusing on making sure he doesn't get the ball and just making sure we close on every shot and rebound. We need to box out heavy. They're gonna attack the glass and they're gonna hustle. So we just need to be aware on all cylinders.
Is everybody healthy, Hudson? All the players?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Pretty much, that's good. Man, I know you guys by this time, you played a lot of games, especially with tournaments. People, I was telling in another podcast that, it's not like football. Football's a physical sport, but you play 10 games in the playoffs, right? Basketball is a lot different. You play 2 games a week. By the time you get to middle end of district, you probably play like 30 plus games. That is a lot of games to play, tournaments, the traveling. So it does wear and tear on you at some point, but if we can be healthy, I know there's going to be some bumps and bruises, but as long as we're healthy enough to get everybody on the court, that's a plus for us. And again, Pirate fans will need that as district play starts. The Pirates will travel to Beeville on Friday as they get set to take on Beeville. And then, Hudson, I'd like to get your thoughts on next week on Tuesday because Coach doesn't come back on until Wednesday. You guys are going to be playing on the road against Ingleside. I know a little bit about Ingleside. We have their coach on their podcast on Monday. That is a team that is pretty good down there. They've got some shooters. They got some guys that can hit some threes. And they're having a pretty good season right now. Just want to get your thoughts on Ingleside. If you want to tell us what you think you need to do, but what do you know about Ingleside and their team this year?
Yes, sir. I know they lost a few players like Jaden Smith. I mean, he was a huge part of their team last year. Adam Jacobson. They were 2 athletic guys. I mean, we struggled against them last year, just grabbing offensive rebounds. But I haven't seen so much of them this year. But I know their team is so strong, and they added their quarterback. I'm not too sure of his name, but I've heard pretty. Yes, sir. I'm heard he's pretty decent. So I'm ready to see what they look like.
Yeah, they have some athleticism there. JC's younger brother Jordan, I know, plays on the team. Sawyer Chalk's on the team, and so I've never seen him play basketball, but I did see him in their football. So again, it'll be great competition. And I think there's not a team, Hudson, including Sinton, that can say or people can say we're going to get the district. I think these teams are going to battle, and if you don't bring your A game, I mean, we can get beat. Beeville can get beat. Ingleside can get beat. Sinton, anybody can get beat. So I think that's what makes this very, very interesting. Is that these games you got to come out and see them. They're fun to watch. They're very competitive, and of course, we want our team to win. But you just never know who's going to win. So we definitely would love for you guys to travel. That is the community to Ingleside. That's about maybe 30 minutes, less than 30 minutes. Beaver's about an hour, but definitely at home is where we definitely like to see the gym packed. I think it's always been packed. We have a great student body that supports our basketball teams, our volleyball teams, and so when they're out here, definitely come on out and fill our side, and hopefully we can fill the other side too as well. And the plus is Coach Hostle's out there, and he plays some pretty good music, Hudson. I mean, that coach really gets down. I see people dancing to his music during halftime and timeout. So that's just an added bonus if you come out and watch the game. So that's fun. So on the screen, we have our other player here, Roman Cox. Roman, how you doing?
I'm good.
Thank you for coming out. I heard Coach had to make a deal with you to get you out here, but I really appreciate it. Not sure what that deal was to get you out, but I'm glad you're out here. Really admire your game, man. I have heard about you when you were in middle school. Obviously, I watched your older brother play, but I was hearing about you when you weren't even in high school yet. And coaches were really high on you, and I can understand why. I've seen some of your games, and I know you only play basketball, but man, you play really good. And I know to get to the point that you're at now, that's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of time you put in. And we're just blessed that Roman Cox plays for Rockport-Fulton Pirates. So thank you for all you do for this community and for our athletic program. So I kind of wanted to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself. So you're a senior, but what is your jersey number and what position do you play for the Pirates?
Jersey numbers number one, and play the one and the two.
1 and 2. Yeah, and I've seen your stats; they're very impressive. Of course, no surprise. But how did you get involved? Like, I know your family plays because your brother played. But who introduced you to basketball? How did you? At what age? I guess I would ask. Did you start dribbling a basketball? Like, well, how old were you? Do you remember when you first got a ball and started dribbling a basketball?
Man,
Had to be young. I'm assuming.
yeah, probably around like 5 or 6, probably. I
Yeah, I was
definitely picked up after my brother, though.
awesome. Was he the one that introduced you to basketball?
Yes.
Wow, awesome. Yeah, he was a great player too. I saw him play before when he was here in Rockport. So that's great. So you play. So what was your expectation this year? I mean, I talked to Hudson and he talked a little bit about some of the players that you guys lost. I mean, you've been on varsity for 4 years. You were on varsity your freshman year, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you lose Carter, you lose Noah. I mean, you guys every year, you lose some players. Obviously, they graduate, but what was your expectation coming in? Like, what did you want to see this team succeed? This team's been in the playoffs the last couple of years, but what did you want to see? What was your expectation going into the season this year?
Hopefully to just do better than we did last season, make it a little farther in the playoffs, even try to win district. Just feel those guys like Carter, Noah, all those other guys try to fill their roles that they kind of played, Maybe try to bring some of the younger guys to step up a little bit.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it's always tough. We're gonna lose you this year. We're gonna lose Hudson. So again, coach is gonna have to try to figure out, next year someone's gonna have to step up to your role, and someone's gonna have to step up to those. And that's just kind of the way it goes. I don't know if you heard, but I asked Hudson to talk a little bit about you. I always want to give a teammate an opportunity to talk about another teammate. So he had some really nice words. He spoke very highly of you, and I'll just let you watch it here live when we're done, so you can hear if you didn't hear what he was saying. But he talked about you as a basketball player. Coaches talked highly of you too. Talked about type of friend you are, the type of person you are all around in school. So it's not just about on the court. I'm going to ask you to talk about your teammate there, Hudson. What's he like? He says you guys go fishing, so you're friends outside the court. But can you tell us a little bit about Hudson King and what's he like?
Man, I love Hudson, man. Been friends for a long, long time, like kindergarten probably, and he works hard on the court, and that's all I really ask for. And then outside of that, we just do whatever we can to have fun, whether it's fishing or hanging out at someone's house, playing Fortnite, whatever it is. Yeah, just being kids.
Awesome. And I think sometimes, guys, we get caught up in the game, the wins and the losses. And I know when I played to win. I practiced hard to win. I wanted to win. I was good sportsmanship when I lost, and I played harder when I lost the game. I took it personal when I was younger, and I worked harder. But I like to hear the chemistry that's built outside, right outside of the court. I think these coaches that we have are really building and teaching about a family and respecting and trusting each other. And I think that's important in sports. And we've got we've got some good coaches, and hearing the players talk about how you guys spend time and your friends, and that's what builds the trust and the strong foundation that we need. And I think when you have leaders like yourself and Hudson, those younger players on JV and freshmen, you're showing them whether we're winning a lot or we're not, we're showing them, how we prepare for the games. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some in sports. But I think what's important is for those younger kids, especially in the middle school and youth, they come out and watch you guys, and you get to let them show and you see them how it's done and how you guys perform and act during the games. I can't remember, coach, I don't know where I heard this. God, I don't know if it was someone from Rockport, but someone told me that, or I read somewhere that the players here are so good that the referees talked highly of our players here, because no matter what happens, they never have problems with our players. They accept, even if they don't like the call or whatever, if it's in football, I don't know if it was in basketball, but I remember that, they're very respectful. They do not talk back. And I think and I hope I'm saying this correctly the way I remember it, but when you get refs or people that notice that, that says a lot about our players, and it says a lot about our coaches. And so if that is exactly the way it happened, like I said, man, kudos to you guys for the way that you perform out there and represent Rockport-Fulton. Roman, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the game against Sinton. It didn't go the way we wanted. Obviously, you had 14 points, I think I saw. Sinton's always been tough. They got some athletes out there. Your thoughts on the way your team performed and just overall playing against Sinton and just being able to score, 37, 39 points?
I thought research data. What do you have to? All right.
I think we did a pretty good job. I think we executed our game plan probably almost the best we could have. They're always a tough team. They always have a bunch of athletes. We've been working on tweaking a few different things for next time, and I think we got them next time.
Yeah, you had a good game. You had 14 points. So they couldn't stop you. I mean, you got to double digits. You have 14 points. And so, and it's going to be a key. I think that anytime they play Rockport, coaches know who you are, and that's the guy you got to stop, right? So you're always going to have these defenders coming at you. What's nice to see is no matter what they put on, you still find a way to score, right? Like you got a game. I mean, you can really, really play. And I think it's great. And again, Pirate fans, if you haven't come out to see our basketball, there's still a couple of games left. Definitely come out and see the team. They play hard, but they're fun to watch. And we've got a lot of talent. And definitely would love to have you come out and support our basketball programs and cheer our team on, right? That extra cheer and loudness could make the difference in winning a game against some of these teams like Ingleside, Sinton. It's a very, very tough district. So definitely looking for people to come out. The next two games are on the road, and then the Pirates will have a couple of home games. I'd like to get your thoughts, Roman, on the Beeville, the next game. Last year, you guys went 1-1. They got one. We got one. It's always been a battle. The last 2 years I've seen Rockport play them. It always goes down, it seems like, to the wire, right? Like it's always very competitive. It's a battle. And it's always last shot, or it comes down to the last minute or two, and one team wins by 4 or 5, one team wins by 1 or 2. So tomorrow, Friday, traveling to Beeville, it's going to be another tough game over there. What are you expecting there from the Trojans?
They got a few talent on their team, a few athletes. We're playing over there, so I'm definitely expecting some fans, some chatter, but definitely also different refs. Whatever area they get their refs from, they call it a little different. A lot more travels on spin moves, a few carries on the hezzies and stuff. So definitely got to watch out for that. But I think we're definitely got a good chance.
I'm glad you pay attention to that. Referees are different. Some let you play, some don't. So it's good to know that you guys are paying attention to the refs and who's refereeing and how do you think that they're going to call the game, because it does have an impact on you. I've seen some refs that call it really tight, and I've seen others that there's fouls and they just kind of let it go. So you have to be able to adjust to the way they're calling the game, which sometimes can be a little tough. I got to ask you and Hudson, now that you brought something up. So when you guys go into the gym, to the opposing gym, and they're chattering and the fans get into it and stuff, does that have an impact? Roman, I'll start with you. Does that impact your game negativity? Or are you the type of player that says, bring it on, you're just making me better, I'm just going to kind of show you guys, like it pumps you up, or does it kind of like, oh man, here we go again?
It might sound weird, but I like playing away better. I like playing in other people's houses.
Why is that?
I don't know. I guess I do like a little bit of chatter.
Yeah, I always wanted to play the best when I played. I mean, I didn't want to play teams I knew we could beat by 15 or 20. I wanted to play the tough teams, right? The Gregory Portlands when I played. Because if we beat them, then people noticed us. So I love it. I love when people talk, it just makes me better. I think I play better because I was always a guy that could get very complacent very quickly. If I knew we could beat a team, my struggle in school was that I knew we could beat you and I wouldn't play my A game. I played tough, but I would kind of not play to the ability that I could. And when we were out of town and people were making fun of us, or I was hearing negativity, which now you have the internet. Back then we didn't in the 90s. I lived up, it just pumped me up more. So for me, I love when the negativity comes because I think it brings out the best in me. And even today, in whatever I do, when someone tells me I can't do it, I work harder to prove that I can. So I've always been that way. So I guess I'm a little like bring it on, makes me better. Hudson, I'd ask you, man, are you like Roman? Do you like playing out of town? And when you hear that chattering, because that's part of basketball, what does it do to you? Does that pump you up, or is it like, oh, here we go again? What does it do to you?
Yeah, I'm like Roman. I like playing away. I like traveling on the bus and going to another person's hometown, and if we win the game, it's just crazy because it's like disrespect for them because we won in their gym.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're gonna have an opportunity to put that to show here on Fridays. You're gonna be going to Beeville and that crowd over there. I've been there. They're tough. That's the tough crowd to play. I don't know how to set up. I think their gym's a little smaller, it seemed like to me, than ours, but it gets very loud there. And again, Pirate fans, the Pirates will be traveling to Beeville for a district game, and I hope that they come back with the win. Last year they split 1-1. It's an important game for us as we're in district play right now. And you heard Roman here talk about and Hudson, they're trying to get win a district title here, get in the playoffs, and get past that first round. So still a lot of basketball left, and we can do our part. They'll have some home games coming. So if you can't make the trips to Ingleside or Beeville, definitely home games, man. You can catch it on the network. We'll let you know when they're playing at home, man. Please come on out and support our basketball programs, our boys and our girls. These boys put a lot of work into it. And I always say the responsibility for us is to come on out. Coaches coach, players put in the time and work hard. And I know they would love to see the gym packed and making a lot of noise for them. And that, like I said, might be the difference in getting a win for one of these district against one of these district opponents. And so that's great. Guys, before I let you go, I'm going to ask you one more question. You got Coach Thompson here. So Hudson, I'm going to go to you first. Talk a little bit about your coach. Second year as a head coach, but he's been here for quite some time. So I know both of you guys know him well. I'll go to you. For the people that don't know Coach Thompson, you guys know him well. You see him every day in school and practice. Can you tell us what type of coach Coach Keith Thompson is?
Yeah, Coach Thompson. I mean, he's the best coach I've ever had. Honestly, he always pushes me to my max, and whether it be a shooting drill or a dribbling drill, if I'm going slow or if I'm looking sluggish, he's always telling me pick up the pace. Because I mean, if it's slow in the practice, it's going to be slow in games. So I love that he just pushes everyone, and after practice we all run. He holds us accountable. We had to shoot free throws today after practice, and we had to make 8 out of 10, and we missed 3, so we were on the line running Syracuse.
That's a tough coach, man. He demands, and you're gonna have to do it right. But it's great. I think he's great too. I think he's very calm. I think he doesn't shout a lot, at least not in the games that I've seen. But I think he teaches, and he teaches his way. And if you guys are getting better, that's the goal, right? We want to win games, but we want the players to get better every game, every season. And I think Rockport did a good hire in giving him the program and giving him an opportunity to build that program, which is exactly what he's started doing this year. So definitely glad that he's here with us. Roman, I'll ask you the same thing. People don't know Coach Thompson. What can you tell us about him?
I definitely agree with Hudson. He holds us accountable, and he definitely cares. You have some coaches who they don't really care, but Coach Thompson definitely cares. He's on your butt about almost everything, even in the classroom too. I have him for math class. he's on me in there too, you know. But he came here my freshman year, and my thoughts at first are, you know, a little iffy. New coach coming in, like don't know too much about him. And then as the years went on, I started to get to know him. And good coach and a good guy, you know. I feel like he understands you a lot, or at least to me, he understands me a lot. And you know, I feel like I have a good relationship with him.
Yeah, the coaches, there's coaches out there that it's all about winning at any cost. And Coach Thompson, like you said, cares about his players, wants to win, but knows how to win and knows how to get the best of his players. And you know, when the coaches trust a coach, I'm sorry, when the players trust a coach, and the coach is able to build great relationships with his players, those players are going to go out there every game and work hard. You don't have to yell because they're going to do it because they want to win for them. And so when coaches can coach, but get the best out of every player that he has on his team, that's how you know he's a good coach. He's doing something right. And so, like I said earlier, I think we got some great coaches. I still don't know a lot of them, getting to know a lot of them this year, but what I've seen and heard from them and on the podcast, man, I'm really impressed with coaches that were hired and were brought in this year. Got some great coaches. Hopefully they stick around for a long time. Coach Thompson, I'll give you an opportunity before I let the boys go. You have both your seniors here. I'd like to give you an opportunity so they can hear. I know they already know, but for the community, what can you tell us about these guys, their work ethic? Anything you want to tell us? Let's start off with you can start off with Hudson or Roman, whichever one you want to go first.
I'll touch on Roman real quick. In my short 4 years, probably the hardest working athlete I've seen. One of the kids that I don't have to worry about skipping reps in the weight room. I don't have to worry about is he going hard during the drill. I don't have to worry about is he touching the line on a run. You know, one of those guys that just like is a leader through and through. Not gonna do anything that he's not gonna do. You know, he's not gonna ask anything of you that he wouldn't do for himself. So hardworking, respectable young man. Hudson, man, I've had the pleasure of being his head coach for 4 years. Very coachable, a smart kid, on and off the court. Very respectful. Not quite as vocal as Roman, but leads in a different way. So I've had the pleasure of being able to coach both of them, and man, very proud of what they've become.
Guys, thank you very much for everything you do. You represent Rockport well, and I'll go outside of just the wins and the losses. For me, I also pay attention a lot of character, what people say. That's why we have these podcasts. We give coaches an opportunity to talk about their players, not just on the court, but what they see in school, how they prepare for a game, how they help out teammates, captains. Obviously, we've got two great ones here. So thank you for all that you do for us. And good luck the rest of the way. I definitely would love to see us win district and definitely get into the playoffs, which I think we will, and get past that first round. So I definitely wish you guys all of the success. Hopefully, you guys can come back one more time at least before the season ends. I'll talk to coach and hopefully you guys will come back. Roman, I don't know what kind of deal coach had to make with you. You didn't tell me, but thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. I've been trying to get you on since you were a freshman. And I was like, can you get Roman on here since you were a freshman, man? And he was like, I'm trying. And I think I don't know if I asked Coach Bates too, and I couldn't get him on. I said, I'm not going to ask him. Well, obviously, he doesn't want to come on. And then I didn't even know you were coming on, to be honest. Because didn't tell me nothing. And then when he said, yeah, it's Hudson and Roman, I said, whoa, Roman, he's coming on. All right, man. So I really appreciate you. And I only say that, Roman, because I've been trying to get you on this podcast since you were in ninth grade, man. This is the first time. So thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. And continue to work hard, guys. Two guys, Pirate Nation, that are going to be very successful after they graduate, man. They lead by example. And like you're hearing Coach say, two great guys that you want on your program. Just two of the very few that we have here in Rockport-Fulton. Guys, thank you very much. And I'll give you the final thoughts. Hudson, I'll go to you first, man. Thank you. Anything you want to add? Any shout outs you want to give to family or girlfriend or friend, anything before we let you go?
I just want to thank you again, man. Thank you for letting me be on this podcast.
Absolutely. I'll put you on the spot here. I'll tell you, I'm gonna ask Coach to bring you back before the season ends, man. You'll come back, or is that something you got to think about?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll come back.
Okay, man, definitely looking forward to having you back before the season ends. And Roman, I'll give you the final thought. Any shout outs? I wanted to say before you do your final thought, man, you hit your 1,000. I was there at the game. You hit your 1,000 points this year, correct?
Yes, sir.
What was that like for you?
Yeah, it was a good feeling. It was a good feeling. Yeah.
Was that a goal that you set for yourself? Was that something that just happened with your play and the way you prepare? Or was that something that when you were younger, you said, I would love to set this goal and make sure that I accomplish this before I graduate?
I'm not gonna lie and say that I set that as a goal, because I don't think I ever like told myself that or set that as a goal or told anybody that I wanted to really hit 1,000 or anything. But I definitely had that in the back of my mind, and yeah, feels good that I was able to make it happen.
Absolutely. And congratulations once again
So
on
thank you.
accomplishing that. I mean, I was there at the game. I saw your mom and dad were there, family. I think I saw your brother there as well. Just a great moment anytime you reach something like that. I think it says a lot when you can get to that point. It just kind of shows the work you put in. You can't get there if you're not putting the work in, right? And so these
Mhm.
accomplishments, individual accomplishments that you accomplish, the players accomplish, it starts when you're very young and you're in youth and you're working hard at that. Then you get to middle school. All of that leads to something like that, getting those points. So again, congratulations. I hadn't had time to, or seen you to congratulate you, but I wanted to take that opportunity now. Now I'll give you the final thought. Do you want to shout out? You have a girlfriend you want to give a shout out to? Your brother, family, anybody?
Uh, Definitely my parents and my brother, wouldn't be wouldn't be or anywhere that I am right now or have anything that I have without my parents and my families. Definitely shout out to my parents.
Absolutely. I don't know your parents and I don't know Hudson's parents, but I have heard of them and I know who they are and I know who your parents are. And definitely everything starts at home. If you've got a great, strong foundation, if you got that support system, because what you see, what we see now in your character, both of you guys, and what you see on the play and the way you handle yourself, that starts at home. We see you as 17, 18-year-old kids, but that starts at home. If you see that in a young adult in your junior and senior year, that's because mom and dad did a great job raising you guys. And so kudos to mom and dad. They don't get a lot of shout outs, but when coaches talk about their players, that starts at home and that starts with mom and dad doing a great job with their kids, and they raise them right to see what we see here today. So thank you guys very much, Roman. Will you come back on the podcast before the season ends?
Yes, sir, definitely.
If you were gonna say no, I was gonna turn to Hudson and say, Hudson, man, you're gonna have to call Roman before he
No,
goes.
I'll be back. I'll be back.
Thank you very much again, Pirate fans. The boys will be traveling on Friday to Beeville and then Ingleside, but then they'll have a couple of home games. So definitely tune in to the Pirates Coast Sports Network. We'll let you know when they're home, and hopefully we can get a really big crowd as boys started district play already, but they need a lot of support as they try to compete for a district title and get back into the playoffs. Thank you guys very much. Have a great night and good luck on Friday.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Coach, thank you very much for bringing them on. Sorry, a little long because I wanted to get you out of here quickly, but a great bunch of guys you have there, Coach. And
Absolutely.
yeah, they both, and I think they represent Rockport very well. Obviously, they got a good work ethic. I've heard about both of those kids and heard nothing but great things about both of them. And I know they're just two of the few athletes that we have there in Rockport. But I'll get really quickly here on the games to get you out. I know you got a long day. Let's get jump right into Sinton, Coach. You heard the boys. Obviously, not the turnout that we wanted, but Sinton's tough. I do think that we're going to bounce back and fix the things that we need to for the next go around. But what did you see from the Pirates? Roman was able to get 14 points, so they had some trouble trying to slow him down. He was able to get off. And have what I think is a pretty good game. It's below what I've seen him score, but he's able to get up there But what did you see overall from the Pirates in this game against Sinton?
I thought a lot of activity from our defensive end. I thought it's hard. It's hard to compete with Sinton with rebounding, but I thought that the boys really paid attention to detail to boxing out, especially like Jacoby, Tristan, and the big boy they have, number 21. So I thought they paid very, very close attention to that detail that we worked on all week. Roman is a handful when he decides to go ahead and get shots up. I don't think there's much you can do to stop him. It's kind of, is he on or is he off that day? That's pretty much all it is. And if he's on, he's in for a long night. I think what I saw the most that really affected us was Brian only had 2 shots. Whether that's, and I'm gonna go ahead and take responsibility for that because I got to see that, or if it's him being a little reluctant. We need Brian close to 10 to 12 shots a game. He needs to be aggressive because he is probably our second best scorer on the team, so he needs to have the second most shots, which is kind of, I guess, an indicator to why we struggle to score. Like you said, we had 37 and Roman had 14 of them. So, we did. I would say everybody else collectively did their job scoring, but we got to get Mr. Kaiser some more shots. But Sin's just, hats off to them, man. They're a tough team. They're a tough team. We ended up, I think, holding Tristan to 9 points, something like that, which is really good. Because last year I think he averaged about 20 plus. So we did our job there. It's really tough, man, because they have so many guys that you have to try and contain. But again, I thought the effort was there from the boys. I didn't think that they laid down. I didn't think that they just kind of said, "Oh, things aren't going our way." They fought hard. So I'm happy. I'm happy with the effort point.
Absolutely, and that's great. Hudson had 5 points in that game. Gary Horton had 5. And there was a couple other guys that also chipped in. Caleb Wilshire had 6 points.
Mm-hmm.
So as you're hearing Coach here, it's the rebounding. That's a good team over there. They've got a lot of great athletes, and so it's going to be hard to defend that. So I thought 52-37 to hold them to 52 points, considering what they did last year. I think that's a win in some ways for us. Something that I think we can continue to look at and build on when Rockport meets them again somewhere down the road here in about I think 2 weeks or so. They'll meet back up again. Coach, let's go ahead and preview the upcoming game. I'd like to get your thoughts on Beeville. Last year, you heard me tell the boys 1-1. Both of those games were very, very close, Coach. The 1-1 was close. It was a battle. I think it almost came down to the end, and then they get the second one, I think. And that was a close one as well, probably even closer than the first one. Just your thoughts going into Beeville. You know this team very well. You know what they're capable of. You played them the last couple of years. I don't want to ask you what the key points are for the win, but I'd like to get your thoughts on what do you want to see based on what you've seen from the games in the past. What do you want to see going into this game from your team, from the Pirates?
Well, I'll tell you this. You mentioned our bye on Tuesday, so we got to do a little scouting, and we went down the road to Sinton, and Beeville got an upset, man. They went and beat Sinton. So definitely, brought that to the boys' attention and kind of told them, like, man, this is a team that is scrappy. They obviously got a guy that kind of reminds me of Carter Engel over there that can fill up the stat sheet, man. Shoot it from deep, really crafty with the way he finishes, things like that. So, our attention, we are locked in, to say the least. And what I really want to see is attention to detail. Again, game plan, right? What we want, what we will allow, what we won't allow. Making sure that we're all on the same page. Defensively, making sure that we're all on the same page defensively, that there's no blown assignments defensively. Because I'm a true believer that we have the guys to score. We have the guys that can go and get a basket when we need it. I just think that at times we I don't want to say get too laxed on the defensive side, but we kind of draw a blank and we miss assignments and we do things that hurt us. And we've been preaching to the boys that we want to play the right way. We don't want to beat ourselves. So like I said, man, just really attention to detail, locked in on everything that we've been going over the week is what I want to see when we go travel to Beeville.
If we play our game, and we've seen what I've seen the games that I've gone to, if we play a great game, I'd say a good game, coach, we can come out of there with a win.
Oh, for sure. I think so. And it works in our favor. Beeville win and upsets, and we can go beat Beeville. And like you said, here it goes. The first place is all open again for everybody.
It is. And that's the one thing I saw here when I looked a little bit. Now, I didn't research their game. So I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know. It shocked me when you said that they beat them because I didn't really look at their game. I was looking at Rockport and Ingleside, some of the teams that we follow, that we do podcast for. So I didn't know that. So thank you for telling me that. I mean, I would have figured it out and looked at it at some point. But I think when you look at this district, I don't think there's a team that can say, "Hey, it's going to be ours." I think coaches know that at any given Tuesday or Friday, these teams are going to battle. Man, people are going to be Beeville. I think Rockport's going to lose some. Sinton. I think these teams are so evenly matched. They've got great players. I think that, coach, what makes it so interesting for a fan is to come out and watch these games. I'm telling you, going to be good games, and a lot of them are going to come down to the wire, man, and it's going to be really good. So when you get an opportunity, get on the road. Ingleside's just about 20 minutes, if that, to their gym. Beavers a little bit further, but at home, definitely want to invite and encourage everybody to come on out and definitely support our programs. The basketball team, they're in district already. It counts. The soccer is in district. So pick, come to one game, come to the other game, come to a basketball game on Tuesday, go to a soccer game on Friday. I mean, whatever you want to do it, but let's get out there and support our programs. They do a great job, and the support is definitely appreciated. But we definitely would want everyone to come on out when they get an opportunity. Coach, I'm not going to tell anything about Ingleside. We'll recap that when you play them. You do got a bye coming up somewhere down the road again. I know it's not these two games, but I know I saw a bye.
It'll be after the second time we play Sinton.
Second time. Okay. So there is another bye that the Pirates will have. But again, to Friday, it's on the road at Beeville. And then next Tuesday, they'll travel to Ingleside, which is going to be two really good games, I think, against two really good teams. So again, if you get an opportunity, please definitely go out there, support Pirate basketball. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the other levels. I'd like to, at some point the next week or two, be able to bring and ask if I can. I'll probably do a separate podcast, but a short one where I like to be able to talk to the other coaches, the JV and freshman coaches, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do it on this show because we've already got things established here that I want to continue to build. But I would like to, if they have time, maybe you can text me what would be a good time. We're talking about maybe a 15-minute podcast, not like a 30, but I just want to give them an opportunity to talk about their program and really talk about some of the players. They see them out there and want to give them an opportunity. Is that something you think we can do in about the next week or two?
For sure. Just kind of let me know dates and stuff, or like days of the week. If you want to do it on Wednesday or whatever, that way I can kind of get with them so that they can clear their schedule.
Yeah, and I said there's just going to be a little bit, maybe about 15 minutes. Just want to give an opportunity to recognize some of their players. I know you see them too, but they see them. They see, and I want to give them an opportunity. I thought about doing it on this show, but we're establishing things on your show, on your podcast, that I don't want to kind of throw it on there as well. I got to give them the opportunity. So I'll text you and let you know, Coach. I'll look at my schedule. Someone in the next week or two, Pirate Nation, will definitely be talking to the JV and freshman coach. Hopefully, I can get the middle school as well, and give them an opportunity to talk about their program, what they're doing at those levels, and talk about some of their players. So definitely something we're working to bring on the Pirates Coast Sports Network in the next week or two. Coach, the other levels, what are they doing? How are they doing? I know you talked a little bit about just wanting them to get them games and just continue to develop. How is all that going with our sub varsity and our middle school?
Our middle school actually has our A teams, I guess, for middle school actually has a tournament coming up. I believe next weekend they're gonna travel to Flower Bluff, and they're gonna go and take on some CCISD teams, which I think will be a different change of pace for them. Um, yeah, man, our freshmen and our JV competed well against Sinton. They both only lost by 3.
Mhm.
Have shown, you know, leaps and bounds compared to what they were at the beginning of the season. I believe our freshmen were actually winning that game, the entire game, and kind of gave away a lead at the end. But yeah, the competing of the tough schedule seems to have worked in their favor, um, and really kind of brought them together. Our JV is starting to put it together. They had some guys that were hurt, that they went ahead and they're healthy now and they're starting to compete. Beeville will be another tough matchup for them. Because their freshmen and JV are undefeated in district right now. They're 2-0. So we'll be able to see what we're up against. But um, I like what I'm seeing from the underclassmen.
Awesome, awesome. And again, I'm going to get with Coach Thompson. Try to set something up that works for us and works for those coaches to give them an opportunity to come on the podcast as well and talk about their program and their players and what they're seeing. So I definitely be looking forward to that. Coach, before I let you go, I want to pick a player. And this player may come on later on. Coach may bring him on, but I wanted to give him an opportunity to talk about one of his players. And this is number 22, junior Caleb Wilshire. Coach, I saw him on football. He's a big kid,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
athletic, so he can do some damage. But we do got him one more year after this. I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of talk to the community about Caleb and just what you see from him and his responsibilities and just what he's like as a player, as a student. Just talk to us a little bit about number 22.
Um, Man, if you don't know Caleb Wilshire, get to know him. Get to know him, man. A very, very unique kid. Super respectful. Um, Raised and I mean the right way. Uh, couldn't ask for, like, I know we talk about how Roman's a hard worker. Man, Caleb is on a whole nother level. I don't. We went ahead and we with our basketball program, we're starting this thing with our varsity that we're going to try to go ahead and do with our underclassmen too. It's a poster of our varsity athletes for basketball, and it's your attendance percentage that we post on our poster, and it tells you how many times you've been to basketball skills, and how many times you've been to open gyms, and how many times you've been to summer workouts. Um, and Caleb Wilshire did not miss a day. 100% the entire summer. And right before, I want to say right before, right before summer let out, he sprained his wrist doing I want to say, man, was it hang cleans? Sprained his wrist, right? Almost broke his wrist. And when I tell you, he was at basketball skills doing everything with one hand. um, you know, doing the Vertimax, jumping, and the doctor having to kind of tell him, hey, look, you can't get your calf sweaty, and he's telling them, well, this is all I can do. So, man, Caleb is the definition of the player that you want in your program. Will run through a wall for you, no questions asked. Very coachable. Um, Nothing bad to say about the kid. Nothing bad to say about the kid ever. Um, So yeah, man, they'll tell you in football. Coach Linford will tell you in track. Caleb is he's a picture perfect athlete.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's we saw him in football. Obviously I wasn't here for the football part. I was over at the Ingleside, but the guys that do the football podcast or the streaming here in the podcast for us know who he is. And just another great athlete, right? And you're hearing coach here talk about, I mean, he didn't take a time off. I mean, he's injured. He could take some time to heal, and he wants to be out there with his team, doing anything he can. And this is the type of stories that we want to hear on the podcast, to give the coach the opportunity. So you hear this, hopefully I say, man, I want to go see these guys play. They do a lot, coach, behind the scenes in the off season that never gets talked about. The only people that see it are the coaches and the teammates that are there watching the grind, right? Those stories never come out. And I love when coaches are able, or players are able to talk about something like this, something that the community doesn't see, something that I don't see, right? That I'll never know unless someone that's there shares that with us. And I think that's a big part of what I want to bring out on these podcasts. It's not just to recap and preview games. We see that, and I think that's important to get the coaches' thoughts on what's going on, and give a coach an opportunity to talk about how or what we're doing to try to make sure that that doesn't happen again. But it's also to talk about these players and how special they are, and the things that they do behind the scenes that never gets seen and rarely gets talked about unless it stays in the weight room, in the training room, inside of that little building that we have right there with the kids and the coaches. So thank you for sharing that. I didn't know who he was. I just kind of saw him. I know he's a big kid. He'll be back next year, so he can really do some damage. I mean, he's a big kid.
And the surprise is he doesn't really get to showcase his skills because of our star guard Roman. But man, Caleb has a little wiggle to his game, man. He can handle the ball, moves really well to be that big, has a nice little crossover, uh, can shoot the step back three. So a lot of people don't know it, man. We kind of use him underneath the rim this year because he's one of our bigger guys, but next year, man, he'll be able to showcase his talent because he'll be definitely one of the top three best players on the team. Um,
Definitely
and
looking.
it just gets me excited of the things that we can do with him,
Coach, I would have never guessed that he's like that. If you see him, you would never guess that he has those kind of moves. So it's great to hear. Definitely looking forward to seeing that from him. And Coach, hopefully we can get him on. Is he a shy kid, or do you think we can get him on the podcast here in the next couple of weeks?
A little shy, but like I said, man, you ask him to do something, he'll do it. So I think we got a good chance.
Absolutely. Just work your magic like you did Roman. And then we're going to, I know you can do it, Coach. That's great. That's Caleb Wilshire, number 22. He's a junior. You're hearing Coach talk about him. Another special player, another kid that gives it his all. And like I said, these are just a few of the Rockport-Fulton athletes that we have. We've got a whole bunch of them. And hopefully, as we get into soccer and we get into softball and we get into baseball, you guys are going to be able to hear stories like this where coaches are able to talk about their players, and we can find out more about the type of athletes that we have here at Rockport-Fulton. Coach, thank you very much. Before I give you the final thought, just want to get an injury update. Guys said everybody was healthy. Hudson, outside of bumps and bruises, is everyone healthy and ready to go?
Yes, sir, we are.
Awesome. All right, Coach. Thank you very much for coming out. I really appreciate your time. Sorry it took so long. We went a little bit over the 30 minutes. I got a little excited there with the guys talking, so I apologize that. But I'll give you the final thought, man. Anything you want to add before we let you go?
Just pray safe travels for us as we head to Beeville, there and back. And hopefully we can come back, execute the game plan well, and be 1-1 in district.
Absolutely, Coach. There's a lot of district games left, and like I said, these teams are going to beat each other. They're going to battle, and they're going to win some, and they're going to lose some. But you heard Coach saying here, Sinton takes a loss, Beeville takes a win, Rockport gets the win, and we've got a whole new story here to talk about next week, Coach. Thank you very much. Safe travels and good luck on Friday, Coach. To be back, he's scheduled to be back next Wednesday, right here on the Pirates Coast Sports Network. That's at 7:00, Coach. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. See you then.
Sure. Thank you.
All right.